This is going to be the meanest thing I've ever said to you, but you are me. Like, at this point, you are me. Like, I'm talking to a mirror right now, okay?
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the Pogcast things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
I just pictured a literal kazoo, but like made of the like whatever it is that like gushers or fruit by the foot. Can we talk about? So there's like gushers, fruit by the foot, fruit roll up. What is that,
dude?
Substance? It's just
that's a great question.
It's not gummy.
No, it's like almost gelatin, but not. It's like gelatin plus corn syrup, like thick
fruit concrete. I don't know. Like fruit leather.
What do you think the most solid structure you could make out of that material? If those three,
the most solid structure.
If those three were your materials, gushers, fruit by the foot, and fruit roll up,
I could probably make like a mean sandcastle. Yeah. Okay, am I the only one who people might think I'm a savage for this, and that's okay? The way I eat a fruit roll up,
oh god,
is I just take the fucking little square of fruit meat and I just roll it into a ball.
Yeah, you're a liar if you're saying you haven't done it. Is that the right way to eat it? No.
You're supposed to just like take bites from the sheet of paper, like
yeah. But we've all done it. Well, weren't there ones where like there were like tattoos on them, so you would just like stick it to my tongue for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, I never
tattoos.
That
and then
shit.
I also remember there was ones where there was like almost like perforated fruit meat, and so there were shapes you could like punch out of it.
I remember that.
And throw at your brother or sister or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't waste that golden substance, but
you ever freeze them?
Yeah, and now this is where freeze them.
Yeah. Then they just get crunchy, which I guess is different as a different experience. I don't know if that's a desirable experience, but it's a different one.
Yeah, I've got some weird like snack habits. When I was little, I haven't done this in at least 25 years, but when I was little, what I used to do, remember they weren't jawbreakers, but they were like cinnamon, really spicy, just the spheres of sugar, whatever the fuck, like
what are they called? Fireballs.
I used to take, so I didn't like the cinnamon spicy. Really, I mean, it just wasn't, I don't know, like not enough to want to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
But what I would do was put it in like a cup of water.
Okay.
And let it just sit there, basically.
Oh.
Now I wouldn't drink the water. Fuck that. What it turned it into was just pure like sweet. It got rid of all of the spicy cinnamon and just made it like a sugary like jawbreaker.
That's worse than the fruit by the foot or the fruit roll up.
Yeah, maybe because you're like introducing another ingredient.
Yeah. And you're removing an ingredient that's core to it. Like, why wouldn't you just get jawbreakers?
Well, because I didn't have those.
Ah, okay. So this was more out of necessity.
Yeah, I remember doing it at my buddy's house, and there was a period of time where they just had like a little glass jar full of the things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't like these, but I do like
the insides.
And I'm curious to know how the fuck at one point was I like Marie Curie fucking experimental scientist where I'm like, I wonder if I would have put these in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because like if you suck on it for a while, eventually it goes away and you get that. It's like, I'll just have this cup of water do the initial
sucking.
And so welcome to the food cast, the candy cast, the cream cast, where we talk about
oh my god,
all things in fucked up eating habits.
Yeah.
Do you also, so when I have you know, the like freeze pops?
Yeah.
I think they have like different names in different parts of the country.
But I gotcha.
I eat 6 at a time. I can't just have one.
Now I gotta make sure we're talking about the same. Are you talking about just the little
skinny?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Wait, Truly makes hard seltzer versions of those.
You know what I have?
Hard popsicles? What?
I have.
Yeah. That is like why I eat just one of those.
I've got like little. This one actually has Meg's name on it. I've got little koozies for the freeze pops.
That's absurd, but I love it.
So the best thing, dude, is
that is absurd, but I love it.
I'll take 6 out. You know, cut the tops off, and they get incrementally better because they get a little meltier.
Melty, yeah.
I can't wait too long, otherwise it'll become straight sugar water.
The best part of the freeze pop as a kid was at the end, the little bit of juice, sucking that up. I thought for a second you were going to say you took 6, cut all the tops off, and just like rubber banded those bitches together and just ate them all at one time. Yeah.
Like a fucking revolver chamber, dude.
Dude. Bro, did you like Airheads?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you freaking whatever.
There was like one
just
day
like
where
shake them around until they become little pillows.
Where I had Eye of the Tiger, I guess, playing in my headphones like all day long, metaphorically speaking, to where I was like, I'm going to take this to its logical conclusion.
Yeah.
And I am just going to do it
forever.
Until it was like this.
Yep.
It was a chode airhead. And and then now when I get it, I'll be like, my wife will just grab my wrist and be like, no.
That's so funny.
No.
Bro, we used to do that and then freeze them. We froze a lot of things, I'm now realizing.
Oh, see, I don't
then it's like a jawbreaker.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but we just froze stuff.
Someone was saying something frozen. Oh, Go-Gurt frozen, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Could be good.
Okay.
I've never tried it.
Okay, so you know how like when was the last time you toastered a Pop-Tart?
My wife does it for me when I'm sick. She cuts them up into pieces. It's delightful. It's delightful.
Okay. But when the point I'm trying to make here is that Pop-Tarts are now, the way they are to me, are just Pop-Tarts. Like, I can't conceive of them as toasted or heated up. They're just, you open the bag and you eat them. Similarly, Go-Gurt is not a refrigerator food. Like, I don't even, like, once you go frozen, it's just, that is the way they're supposed to be. They're so good.
Interesting. I'll have to
frozen Go-Gurt.
I'll have to give it a try. I've got a big box of them in my
banging. The other thing we've all done for sure, you know, the Hubba Bubba tape. It would like the tape measure thing. Every one of us.
Bubble tape?
Hubba Bubba, like the bubble gum. It was like a measuring tape looking thing, and you like
bubble tape.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It was just like a powdery pink strip of.
Yeah, we've all opened that thing up and just. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, just to be little menaces. Yeah.
Do you have Ballpark Chew?
Oh yeah, dude.
I remember the grape. My mouth is watering just thinking about the grape Ballpark Chew, dude.
Isn't it crazy? Like, and I mean it hilarious way. I don't mean it in like a, oh my God, I can't believe we made it. Isn't it hilarious? Like, 2 of my favorite candies were fake cigarettes and Ballpark Chew.
right?
You know what I mean? Like,
You can't do that these days.
Yeah,
Kids these
yeah,
days
yeah.
don't know. And there were two different kinds of. So I still get candy cigarettes.
Yeah, they're
There's like a
great.
penny candy store down the road from my wife's house, and either sometimes when she's down there or like for our anniversary, her mom got us like these little individual baggies of hand picked. There's like 80 million things, and you just
Yeah.
go like, I'll have one of those and two of those, and she always gets me the little wax bottles.
Oh yeah.
The like shoelace licorice.
Yep.
Chocolate covered gummy bears actually are kind of newer.
I would try.
They're good. They're good.
It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it wasn't something that like I grew up with, but
Yeah.
I think I like stole it from my wife's candy bag enough times that she's like, just get it myself. Yeah, and getting the candy cigarettes. But there are the two kinds of candy cigarettes. I remember so there are the ones that like straight up look like cigarette
with the red
boxes
tips
with the like tiny little red dyed red,
yes.
but it was just a chalk.
Yeah. Yes.
But then there were
also
the ones that you had to be really cool to have as a kid, they were bubble gum, but there was paper around them, and there was like powder, so you could like, and it would like the powder, and it would look like
God.
And I remember being like 7 and being like, I'm so fucking cool.
So cool. Dang.
I will just straight up say it that, and it's one of those things that like I think very few people these days, like Zoomers, are like at risk of smoking cigarettes. Vaping for sure, but smoking cigarettes I think is definitely just like a dying breed.
Yeah.
But I have to say straight up, people, especially like in movies, make smoking look cool.
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
No one says this. Everyone says the opposite. No.
I'm the only one brave enough to say it.
I'm the only one. They call me based. I don't know what that means, but I've been told. No, but like straight up
based.
Straight up. I feel like I'm one of the few people who thinks that like smoking a cigarette can be sexy.
I mean, it looks sexy. Yeah.
And
everything else about it is gross.
I've smoked a cigarette my entire life.
Yeah.
And probably did it wrong, and it was like miserable, and I would never do it again.
No. Yeah. It definitely looks sexy, but everything else about it is yuck.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that actually minds it that much.
Really? Oh.
So what I don't like is like my best friend's mom. She was always just killing butts, just smoking, and she tried to quit for so long. Every now and then we would go and find her cigarettes and break them in half and put them in the toilet, and she'd be fucking pissed. She'd be livid. But there was always like a cup somewhere, usually like on the deck at the top of the stairs, that we'd end up kicking over, that was just full of like a little bit of a drink and like 17 cigarettes. That's like nasty.
Yep.
And in like a car.
Yep.
Can get nasty, and like inside can get nasty, but like I don't mind. I don't really mind smoke, to be honest. It doesn't really bother me. And like look, once a year I'll have a cigar or a pipe.
A pipe. I've tried smoking cigars. I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. I don't get the appeal. I respect it. You know what I mean?
What,
like
of a pipe
or cigars or just smoke in my lungs. You know what I mean?
Well, see,
I know you're not supposed to inhale it.
Yeah, you don't want to be taking a fucking nice chunky rip of cigar.
But once again, I live your best life. Do you? It's just one of those acquired taste things, I guess, that like I've tried smoking a few cigars and I'm just like, I just end up being like, what am I doing with this thing? It doesn't taste
Have you ever had a nicotine buzz?
No.
Well,
I've smoked a few cigars, but I have never smoked a cigarette.
Yeah, so I mean, you must not have smoked it enough.
Yeah.
Like a cigar enough, I guess, to like...
Probably not, because I probably threw it away after like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do is be like drunk and then have like a nicotine. You get the fucking
Yeah.
That's when the earth starts to go
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah, and that's never happened to me. But yeah, I don't know.
No, someone in chat just said, "What do you mean?" When if you've never had nicotine before, if you're drunk and then end up like getting a buttload of nicotine, it'll make you sick as fuck.
Yeah.
But I will say this, some of the best nights of my life involved a bit of nicotine and some alcohol. We used responsibly over the age of 21
in GTA, of course.
In GTA, yeah. Well, anyways, this is the smoke the Smokecast.
The Ripcast, yeah, from gushers and fruit by the foot to nicotine highs and drinking.
Yeah, that was the natural progression.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
From age 7 to 9.
Yeah, and then in 4th grade.
And now you wonder why I talk like this.
Oh man. Well, what's up, man? How you doing? What you been up to? Oh, how was your trip?
I'm tired. I got back from Washington State.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful place. Never been before. Me and the wife we are making great progress on checking off every state in the country. We're visiting together,
nice.
trying to go to all the national parks.
That's sick.
And so we were in Washington for a week. I just got back a couple days ago.
That's dope.
I was out in bear country, did some hiking.
Hell yeah, brother. Touched some grass.
I did touch some grass. Yeah, lots of grass. Walked around with fucking like a holster with bear spray in it. Was like ready to fucking ready to trip my wife, push her towards the bear, and run the other way.
Classic.
Mace her with the bear spray.
Yep.
I don't got to outrun the bear. I just got to outrun her.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
But yeah, we had our 10-year wedding anniversary.
That's
dope. So it was a really good time. It was
Hell
a nice vacation. I hate traveling. I fucking hate airplanes. I fucking hate everything, dude. I hate it so much. I hate the airport, dude. I hate it. And I just got TSA pre-check. This is my first time using TSA pre-check. Oh,
nice.
Do you have it?
No.
Dude, okay. I swear to God, the last time we went on a trip, me and my wife, I like checked a bag and then we were like walking, towards the lines. And she was like, okay, this is the line to go to TSA pre-check. She's like, 20 yards down the thing is like where you go in for the fucking pleb normie check-in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Because she had it and I didn't at the time. Before I got done walking through the turnstiles to get to the beginning of the line, she was like, all right, I'm through. I'm like, you motherfucker. I mean, you don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take anything out of your bag. You literally like put everything either in your bag or like in the little thing. What? And you don't have to take your laptop out. You don't have to.
What? How? Why? What are they pre-checking?
These are questions. These are great questions. They're questions that I have as well.
But you will still take advantage of. I understand. That makes sense. Like I get it.
Well, yeah, me not doing pre-check isn't going to.
No. I didn't. I meant that as in of course. Like these are questions we have, but who cares? As long as I can not wait in that stupid line, I'm gonna not wait in that stupid line.
I assume they just make sure you don't have any like ties to Al Qaeda or something.
I guess.
But then like, I don't know. How
I got my first because the week before you left, I was in Washington State, and I got my first pat down at the. I forgot to tell you about this. I got my first pat down. I went through the thing.
Did he wink at you?
It was the first flight of the trip too. Like first flight of the trip, I got through the thing, and he was like, "Could you wait right here for me?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he comes back up to me, and he was like, "I'm not gonna lie to you, man." He was like, something came up on the thing at your crotch. So here's what's going to happen. I swear to God, he said that. Like he told me where
the scene from Spinal Tap.
where it picked it up. And he was like, I'm going to have to run my hands down this. I'm going to have to run my hand on this side. I'm going to have to pat you down on the front. I'm going to have to go
and they're like,
pretty far up there on the back and this and that. Yeah, and he was like, "Do you want to do it in a private room or do you want to do it right here?" And I was like,
And you just dropped your pants?
"No." Well, I know he didn't make me take my pants off, but he was thorough. And I was just like, "Let's do it right here, man. Let's get it over with." So, yeah, it was weird. That was the first time. And he was like,
did he buy you dinner?
As he was doing it, he was like, "I don't like doing this any more than you like having it done." I was like, "I believe you, bro."
And imagine if at the end he was like, "Later, pizza man." Wink.
Oh, I would have died, bro. No shot. No shot.
My God. Have you seen Spinal Tap?
No.
Of course you haven't seen Spinal Tap. It's
Sorry.
like, I'm not even gonna bother telling you to see it.
Yeah, I've got a list
like
now.
It's like ninth on the list.
Yeah,
but it's basically, you know anything about it?
No, that one I know very little about. A lot of the other movies I kind of get the cultural significance, but Spinal Tap, I know nothing about that movie.
It's a fake like mockumentary basically.
Okay.
That takes place in the 80s. I wonder if I can. Yeah. Okay. So, and it's basically follows like a hair metal band that they're just a bunch of fucking knuckleheads. Just complete knuckleheads, but it basically follows like the hair metal band through their like.
Interesting. This is not at all what I thought this movie was.
It's haven't you ever heard? But these go to 11.
Maybe. No.
That's that scene from. Okay, so that's a scene from this movie where like, and it's one of those things that, of course, me explaining it now.
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry.
Watch it. But you know, like the guy's walking through. Like I said, it's a fake documentary. Yeah. The guy's like walking through and he's like explaining his like, you know, gear setup and this amplifier. And he's like, and the cool thing about this, and of course, it's like British accent.
Yeah.
Cool thing about this amplifier is like, you know, it goes to 11. Like all the other amps, you know, they go to 10. But if you just need that extra oomph, right? This one goes to 11. And the guy's like, couldn't they just make 10 louder and make it? He's like, but this one goes to 11, and like they go back and forth, and it's just dumb humor like that. At one point, at what they have all these like face to face, you know, like camera interviews.
Yeah.
And at one point, like the night before, they're all basically with hookers.
Mm.
Like you can tell they're just like with hookers and they're doing drugs and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then like the next time they're the face to face interviews, they all have like
herpes. My God, bro.
And it's just never. You know, pointed out the best scene from the movie, because you've never seen it, and people aren't going to watch it if they haven't seen it, but is the guy draws a diagram on a napkin. They're talking about like they want to do this song. It's all about Stonehenge, and they want to have like this epic set, you know, this epic set piece and all this light show and whatever. And he's like, and then we need to do this, and he draws like on a napkin like the diagram of the Stonehenge.
Yeah.
You know, like monument that he wants, like dropping down from the ceiling, and they're fucking rocking out, and it's like, you know, Stonehenge, and this fucking thing comes down off the ceiling about this big. And it's because he wrote did the double tick for inches rather than feet. And the guy's like, I made it exactly how big you wanted me to make it. And it's there's jokes about like there's little people that are dancing around, and he's like, they almost crushed the fucking Stonehenge. It's just a great. I don't even remember. Dude. Oh, and one of the things they were going through security. This is the whole reason why I brought it up. They're going through security, and one of the guys had like a cucumber wrapped in tinfoil that he'd shoved in his pants because he's all wearing like little tight leather pants, and he just had the awkward thing about having to take out the fucking cucumber wrapped in tinfoil. So that's why I said, "Oh, like Spinal Tap." You're like, "Yeah," and then you just kept going with it.
I find it. I just find it so hilarious how frequently I disappoint you with movies. But it's like it's so funny because that's always the logical. It's just how it goes. Like somebody's like, "Oh, you haven't seen the movie," and then no, and then you explain it, and by the end of explaining it, like I could hear the depression in your voice of like, "Never mind, you don't think this is funny," but it's because I haven't seen it. It's just, and it's happened so many times. It was like 12 Monkeys. Was one. I don't remember what the other one was. There have been so many. I'm sorry.
You know what I saw?
I think I realized how sheltered I was until people start asking me, "Have you seen this movie?" And then I'm like,
have you seen X?
No.
Have you seen Y? Yeah. And to think you introduced me to Dark.
Yeah, and Severance.
You know what I saw on the way home which was kind of a buck wild thing to watch, was the new Top Gun.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
I cried, literally cried on the plane. Dude, there's just I am a sucker for movies when it just comes anything about like overcoming whatever to help someone, like brotherhood. Oh God, I'm a sucker
Isn't
for
it
it, man.
funny? I don't. What was his?
I'm a sucker for it.
I know someone's gonna get mad at me. What was his name? The old guy that like Goose. The old guy.
Are you talking about the actor? Like, what's your question?
Like in the movie, the guy in the original Top Gun, the homie he was with, Iceman, I think. And then in this movie, that dude's mad old and he can't really talk, and like they go have a moment.
Yeah. Val
Kilmer. It's just crazy that like those two were in the original Top Gun. Like basically what I'm saying is Tom Cruise, black magic is being done to him and he doesn't age. Have you seen the pictures of like him now versus all the other stars of the original Top Gun? They're all dinosaurs and he's somehow still holding his breath for 17 minutes for Mission Impossible 92. Literally Google like Top Gun actors then versus now. Tom Cruise.
I mean, what can I say? It's crazy. He's been he's been active, taking care of himself, for quite a while. He definitely has aged. The problem is that like, folks like Val Kilmer, they've all gotten fucking so much plastic surgery.
Yeah.
That it's like, dude, I just don't understand. I don't understand. Genuine question.
Okay.
The people that get plastic surgery, do they think that like the end result? I can't tell if do they look at the end result and say, this is what I was going for, this is good, or were they hoping for something else and they get the like?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because who did I see? My wife was watching in the seat next to me on the flight home. She was watching something with here it is. You ever see a High School Musical?
No.
Okay, well, fucking Zac Efron.
Oh yeah, Zac Efron.
Like
yeah.
Oh my God! Like why?
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, is that whatever his natural aging would have been?
It's not that.
Would look better than this.
Yeah. I heard he like got into an accident and like busted his jaw though.
Okay, well,
but I don't know if that's true.
I mean, yeah.
Have you seen
Simon Cowell?
Oh yeah.
There's another one, dude. That's just like what the absolute. I saw him recently and was like, oh my God, like holy shit.
Oh my God.
Like, and you would think that someone like him who's always talking shit about people, like, that he would just know that like plastic surgery is not going to help you look better. You don't look better. You look like your own wax statue. Like he looks more like his wax statue than any wax statue that's ever been made.
Which one is the recent one? They both
on the left.
That's crazy. That's gross.
Like fuck, dude. I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you just get to a certain amount of money, and it's like people just like fix me blindly, and then it's like back alley plastic surgeons doing all the Hollywood stuff.
Dude, I'm telling you, this like Botox look. There was a video recently about God, what the fuck was it? It was like Gen Z's aging like milk, I think is what it was called. Have you seen that?
No.
And oh my god, dude, it's Kenzie is aging like milk.
Have you seen the Vsauce?
Oh, do we look
Yeah, did
older or
people
younger
used
or
to look
whatever?
older? Yeah.
Yeah, so this video was from Pegasus, this channel Pegasus. And like this guy, have you
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
this
yeah,
guy?
yeah, yeah.
You know he's like 24, right?
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Now, although I think if he shaved, like when I shave, it takes like 15 years off
Oh,
of me.
yeah. Yeah.
But and he's also rocking like
He's got the
aesthetically,
glasses and the
he's got the dad robe and whatever, right?
100%.
But like
Yeah.
this whole like thing that I think especially young women are doing with like Botox injections and stuff. It's like it. I mean, I really don't like judging people
No,
on
yeah.
their looks, but like it seems like it's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, and I'm just curious about the. I'm curious about the like the mentality.
Yeah.
Like she looks older than she is, but that's only because of her like hair, I think, and like her clothing. Like I don't think it's the same kind of injection, whatever. You know, she looks probably 10 or 15 years older. But again, I think that's like the hair, the you know, the outfit or whatever. But like that's different than, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't know, dude. I don't know. And the problem is that like the response you get from people on the internet is so fucked up. Like I would never in my life think of like commenting on a post on Twitter or whatever to be like, you look like you're 45. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, like that's like a total different level of like degeneracy.
Yeah.
But there's just something so interesting to me where I want to know, is that what you were going for?
Yeah.
Or was that
this
like
the desired result? Yeah.
Because I don't know. I can only speak for myself. Is anybody, and I know everybody sees people as attractive for a million different things and whatever, and there's so much more to being attractive than your looks.
Yeah.
But does anybody like, and hit me up in the comments, leave a comment, because I want to know, does anybody like the big puffy like lip in like clearly injected? Like it's a look that I see from especially like my sister and a lot of her friends, like that generation.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I just don't get it.
Dude, yeah. That's just one of those things. Like, I mean, we all have those thoughts. We see the celebrities that get crazy with it. You see, obviously, like the most botched stuff. And I guess it's one of those things where you never notice when it's good. Because I guess you would just assume,
maybe,
unless it's like a person you knew, right? And you like knew them before, and then you see them after. It's like you never notice when it's good. You only notice either it's like a botched job or it just like went a little too extreme or somebody shouldn't have done it and they did. Who knows? But yeah, with that kind of stuff, it's just like, live your best life. You know what I mean? I guess. I don't know.
And the unfortunate thing is that anyone feels like they need to. And that's on a combination of like women in Hollywood plus men being terrible. Plus, like it's
it's
a bigger
society.
problem.
Yeah.
But like that's the travesty, is that like anybody thinks that they have to like have needles stuck in them and whatever to God, yeah. And then you think like the end goal, right, is for, I think, for whenever you talk about like these kind of surgeries, right?
Mm-hmm.
the kind of unstated premise is that like the end goal is that you want to be happy and secure in
For
your
sure.
body and confident, and like you want to look in the mirror and be happy. And I feel like that is almost never the case. Now this could just be confirmation bias, and that like I said, you know, maybe maybe a bunch of people that we find attractive have all had work done and it was just really well done. I doubt it. I very much doubt it.
Yeah.
But especially all these girls that are like in their early 20s thinking they need fucking cosmetic work. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That just seems like a problem.
Yeah.
Like a problem. Like therapy is the solution, not medicine.
Yeah.
Well, not cosmetic medicine.
Yeah.
But I'm not qualified. I'm a fucking white dude, right? What the fuck? What, like, I'm not qualified to talk about any of the things other than I'm like thinking to myself, is that what they wanted?
Yeah.
And if it is, I don't think it's going to have the intended result.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of probably both. Or all the things. Sometimes that might just be the intended result. You know, different strokes, different folks. You know what I mean? Sometimes maybe it's not. Sometimes maybe it was supposed to be something different and then it's that.
I would think, and I'm doing a whole lot of projecting and assuming and whatever, but like I'm perfectly happy to be completely wrong on this.
Yeah.
But of course you have to think about not me literally, but like younger-ish. Okay, I'm not young anymore. 20 to 30-year-old dudes are kind of the target market.
Maybe.
I would think the end result is to be more attractive to the opposite sex.
Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe sometimes it's just being happier in your own skin. What I'm saying is probably all of it happens. You know what I mean? The whole spectrum of desire happens. Not every 20 to 30-year-old dude likes the same thing. It's probably
that's definitely
pretty,
goes without saying.
Yeah.
But again, this goes back to let me know if you're the kind of guy that likes the aesthetic that is like, I mean, I can't like.
Hey man,
all I can say is that she's obviously had lip injections, right?
Yeah,
like
I would imagine so.
And I don't.
People like different things, Veritas.
But when you say people like, are we talking about the girl or are we talking about the guys she wants to attract?
How do you know who she wants to attract?
I don't.
There you go.
But that's what that's what I'm saying is that you say people like different things.
Yeah.
Are you talking about her or whoever it is she's trying to attract, if anyone?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, so I guess I want to know if I know that there are people out there that like feet, right? I don't get it. I'm not going to kink shame.
Exactly. That's a great example.
But I don't know anyone who's like, I love the big puffy fake lips.
Yeah.
Maybe there are dudes who are like, probably every guy in Jersey is all about it.
Yeah.
Fucking love it, bro. I don't know, right? I don't know. There's something for everyone. Did you ever see that documentary about the guy who was sexually attracted to like carnival rides?
Yeah, I did. Listen,
I'm not gonna kink shame.
We live in a world where anything is possible, Veritas. How did we get here?
I don't know. We talked, dude. This has been
came from
the most
Spinal
wild
Tap
podcast ever. We talked about Spinal Tap, Top Gun.
Yeah.
Washington State, TSA,
Yeah.
smoking cigarettes,
Yeah.
freeze pops.
Yeah. Yeah, this. Yeah,
And,
someone said, "Is this the PP?" This feels like what a Patreon episode feels like.
Yeah, if you guys are vibing with this,
Just
the
unhinged.
Patreon,
Yeah,
this is
patreon.com/the
the kind of
podcast pod.
we probably should have fucking saved this for then.
Oh man. Anyways, well, outside of that, well, yeah, your trip was good. You're back. You've been going through some more trials. That sounds like you've been going through some trials, some tribulations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Some Trials Motorbike 2004.
yeah, time trials. You're still working on the Chandler Halderson video, and then just in your free time, just going through cases because you're gonna become a lawyer?
Yeah, basically.
Top V.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I'm so bored with everything, dude.
That I
Everything.
can identify with. Yeah.
Everything. Like, I don't want to play. Like yesterday, so I got home a couple days ago yesterday. I'm like, all right, I should probably stream, right? I was gone for a week and I was editing the video, and I got about 40 minutes of the video done.
Nice.
And I was like, I don't even feel like I want to stream. Like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna edit some more, and then like, cause I don't know, dude. I'm like half into the game I'm playing. I'm like half into whatever shit I'm watching. I just can't get into anything, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
I feel you. I feel that like I'm so bored of Tarkov right now, but there's just nothing that super duper interests me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't know what I want to play if I wanted to play something different. I did play a little bit of Dungeonborne with Bearkey. I don't know if you ever...
Oh, fuck is that?
Yeah. Okay, did you ever play Dark and Darker at all during the playtests?
I played it on like the second day of the playtest ever.
Yeah.
I played it for like 2 hours when I played solo before there was a solo mode.
Yeah. So I played Dark and Darker quite a bit. Actually, not quite a bit. I probably played it like 5 or 6 times for a few hours each, but I never got far. Like, I never got deep, especially because when the wave hit the Tarkov people, it was early when they were doing play tests. Like, the game wasn't out and you couldn't really progress your character. So I felt like I kept just doing like level 1 fights, you know what I mean? But I never really got into it. It just never like grabbed me. But then Dungeonborne came out, which was funny because you remember the whole Arena Breakout Infinite drama in the Tarkov? It's like they stole Tarkov, they copied everything. It's just that. And then like BSG was like, have fun in your little 20-minute adventure in your plagiarist game. Dungeonborne is Arena Breakout to Dark and Darker. Like, Dungeonborne is just Dark and Darker with a bunch of quality of life changes and slightly different graphics, and like it's more casual friendly. And I played it with Bearkey for a few hours and I actually had a blast. I was like, it hooked me way more than Dark and Darker ever did. Now, that doesn't mean Dark and Darker is a bad game. Similar to how when I was streaming Arena Breakout, you had a bunch of Tarkov stands just like relentlessly like, Tarkov's better. Like, they would just hang out on my stream all day and be like, oh my god, that lion statue doesn't look as good as Tarkov's. Oh my god, they do that? Tarkov is so much more hardcore. Similar to that, like, I played Dungeonborne for 3 hours and they were like, oh my god, Dark and Darker is so much better than this game. This skill ceiling. And I was like, fine, go play that, I guess. I don't know. So Dark and Darker is a great game. If you like Dark and Darker, I'm not saying it's better, but I thought Dungeonborne was fun. Personally.
Interesting. I've been meaning to give it a try again, but I don't know. I'm just not. Every time I think about it again, I look at the gameplay for Dark and Darker, and it's one of those games that like I'm sure if I played it, I'd be into it. But for some reason, like it's the same with Factorio and Satisfactory and a bunch of other games. I just like I can't get past me looking at it right now. It doesn't look fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I know intellectually,
Yeah.
it would be like super mentally engaging, and I would get into it and whatever. But it's like I don't care about any of the things I'm looking at on the screen.
That's kind of how Dark and Darker was. It's like, and that's kind of how DayZ was for me too. It's like I know that after like some hour threshold, I would like it would click and I'd get it and I'd get addicted. But like whatever that threshold is not engaging enough to like get me to push past it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you see Shroud's? Shroud just came out with a video.
I did. What's it called? Is it called Mountaintop or is it Mountaintop Studios? I can't remember.
I don't know. I just know the game is called Spectre Divide, which I kind of hate, but
yeah. So I saw that trailer, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically like Valorant, but everybody's two people.
Something like that.
Okay.
Like, I don't know exactly the whole two people and how it works.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I know that you kind of like, I think you like throw a thing, and like you can where it lands, you can kind of like almost like teleport to that. But I just don't know if that means like if you die, does it auto teleport you to that thing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or are you dead? If you don't throw it, do you get? I don't know. But I think like I'm excited mostly because the first few days of a game like that, when there's no meta, it's the best. Yeah, it's the best because you're kind of when you are an above average FPS player, you feel like a god for the first few days before above average becomes average. Basically. Because there's like no real matchmaking. People haven't mastered everything. They don't know. There's not like a meta where, because if I go play Valorant, I'm going to go play on a map that I don't know. I don't know where the angles are. I don't know the timings. I don't know the heroes and their skills and their abilities. And, like you have to play a ton to get there. The first few days, it's kind of like everybody, the Wild West. So.
That makes total sense. And you like those types of games, right? Like I remember you played quite a bit of Valorant originally. Like I know a lot has probably changed since then.
Now, but, actually, watching this today made me kind of want to play Valorant again.
I get that. I mean, I kind of dig the vibe and the aesthetic. Like it's, it's I don't know if this is called like cell shaded, but it's, somewhere between, Valorant, which is like the real, like not cartoony, but very different.
It's got like real environments, but then the people are like almost comic book.
Yeah, like a take on like a Borderlands-y type of thing.
But the animations, like the weapon animations and everything, like looks very, very good.
Yeah.
Like just the reloads and the way that they like hold the guns and like everything. It looks very good for a game that would be a little bit more cartoony because it's like it's got that aesthetic, but everything is, at least from what I've seen, seems okay. I was just gonna say seems realistic. And then I see this fucking whatever this is. I don't know, dude.
No, I feel you. I mean, it works. Like this is dope. This looks dope. I was a little sad because these games just aren't my jam. And I remember when, Sacriel and Shroud said that they were working on something, and I was like, oh, this is sick. But wait, is this the game that they were working on, or is this a separate game that Shroud's working on?
This is what Shroud. I don't think this is the Sacriel.
And Sacriel, like, announced that they were working together on a game.
Oh, wait, let me pull up Sacriel's, like, Twitter and see if he announced. I vaguely recall it was with Splash Damage.
Yeah, this is not the Sac plus Shroud game. Okay, that's right. You're right. No. Splash Damage was that. Okay, interesting. That's right, because they were working on a survival game. Okay, It's all coming together now. I saw this. I thought it was that game, and I got sad because in the back of my head, I was like, man, I thought Shroud and Sacriel were working on like an extraction or a survival game or something, which is much more up my alley. And I was like, oh, this doesn't look like it's fun for me, but this is different. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better. That makes me feel better. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, there's a bunch of like core features of games like this that
You know
they
the
are
still
either
playing?
Say what?
You know the video is still playing?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to see you.
They are they're either like core critical features of these types of games that kind of makes them what they are, I think.
Mhm.
Although it would be fascinating to see how any departure could or would work, especially from someone like Shroud. See, here's the thing. Shroud has just enough experience to where I'm not sure if it would be like over the threshold where he might have so much experience that some of the factors that I should have said already, but I'm going to get to at the end of this idea, are like required
Yeah.
for the genre to like work, or if he can like either abstract out these ideas and figure out a way to replace them or whatever. So what I'm talking about is like the concept of not moving while shooting.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're strafing and holding down mouse 1, is it just pure RNG? Because that's basically what every game is.
Yeah. Like CS
The way
and
these
Valorant
games
and stuff
work
like that.
is the bullets go exactly where your crosshair is as long as your fucking X and Y velocity are 0.
Yeah.
The moment it's non-zero, there's mad bloom. So
Yeah.
you're punished for moving and shooting.
Yeah.
So it's like there's that, but then there's also, that's not necessarily the case. I think in CS, and I'm going to get some of these details wrong. But like, I'm just trying to communicate some of the high level ideas to Jesse, so don't fucking at me.
Adam.
It's been so long since I played that I don't know what has what anymore.
Yeah.
But like the way that a lot of these games work are with the rifles and SMGs and stuff, you're penalized for moving while you're shooting. But a lot of times the pistols, you aren't. So sometimes you can like full strafe with a pistol and you're not going to be penalized. Then there are like different things with different sniper rifles where like there's one kind of sniper rifle where you aren't penalized for moving. And you can move pretty quickly while you're scoped in with the sniper rifle, but you'll never kill anybody with one shot.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the chest.
Yeah.
It either needs to be a headshot, unless they have like armor or whatever.
Yeah.
Versus, like something like an op, which you do get penalized for moving, but you're basically, it's one shot basically no matter what.
Yeah.
Unless you shoot through like 2 feet of concrete in their leg or something. And then there's the whole aspect of the economy, how like the first round
like
is
the buy
usually a pistol
phases.
round, and so there's a whole meta in CS, and it's honestly kind of similar in CS and Valorant, which is like first round is a pistol round. If you win pistol round, sometimes you can buy SMGs and like mid-tier armor, spend all of your money, and then the people who lost will buy nothing. They'll buy like a flash grenade and they'll just use like pistols, and that'll give them after the next round enough money to full buy everything. So it's like you have the whole push and pull over. We can invest to like massively guarantee, because if SMGs and armor against pistol nothing, chances are you're gonna like, it's a gimme. But it's a big upset if you
lose that round.
Because then you get a bunch of free gear. You fuck up their economy. So there's a whole risk reward, but it's really similar in Valorant and CS. Again, if I remember correctly, similar kind of meta. And I wonder if like, is this game gonna have like all of these checkbox things that all of these other games? Because I almost feel like to set it apart, it I don't know. I feel like it should
Well, that's what
divert a little
that's
bit
what I was going to ask
from.
you, right? Because it's like that like how I am fascinated by this stuff as well. So like because it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like you look at like battle royales, right? You had the first few like the H1Z1 kind of like mod, and then you had PUBG, and then Fortnite, and then it went crazy, and there were like tons of battle royales made, but it kind of settled down into like Fortnite and Warzone and PUBG. Like those are
Yep.
the three left. It feels like there's only ever been CS. And then there was Valorant as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe
Yeah.
these games are more popular than I think they are. But it felt like there was just only ever that game and then Valorant. And so like that was going to be my question is like, I wonder what people want. Do they want this same super rigid experience exactly like that, just with it cell shaded? Or do they want, but it's one of those things where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like it's so risky to decide you're going to be in this genre, because if you change anything, everybody will be like, that's the most ridiculous thing. You don't understand the fundamentals of this game.
Yeah,
And
this is what works.
and if you don't change anything, it's the sunk cost fallacy of like, but I have 10,000 hours in CS and 8,000 hours in Valorant. If you don't change anything, why would I play? You know what I mean? And it's like, we've seen that happen with a ton of other games where a game company wants to get in on a trend or on a new genre, and then that exact same thing happens. If you don't change enough, why would they change games and put tens of thousands of hours in your game? But if you change something, well, this new genre or this new trend now has a rigid structure of rules, and if you're changing that, then you don't understand it, and that game, your game's going to be DOA. So it's like, I'm so interested into like what CS or Valorant players want. Do they want some of those mechanics to be changed? Is it one of those, you don't know what you want, I'm going to tell you what you want? The old, Steve Jobs, Stroud just makes something weird, and then all of a sudden we realize it's this crazy game we've been missing. I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's hard to tell from, I only saw like 5 minutes of the video.
Yeah.
I think adding like what Valorant did was
with like the hero shooter aspect,
was
right?
add the hero abilities and a ton of quality of life things that CS didn't have. CS2 probably has some of, but you know, just having like a shooting range with the damage values, the way that's like some of the map features work, and just, there's a lot of really nice things that it did, but really the core fundamental features revolving the like economy, the way that the phases of buying, saving, forcing, pistol, SMG meta, having like a couple different kinds of sniper rifles, like they really I think actually the only other different thing is that basically every gun in Valorant you can ADS, whereas in CSGO there's only like a couple of guns you can ADS, like the AUG you can ADS. It's got like a built-in kind of ACOG sort of thing.
Fascinating.
But like you can't ADS with like an M4 or an AK in CSGO.
That's so wild.
Yeah, it's just you're meant to be aiming like with your crosshair. And in Valorant, when you ADS, it actually slows down your rate of fire, I think. So like the AK, and if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it fires slower while you're aiming to kind of balance. Which is an interesting thing, but I just don't know. I feel like this will be kind of a disappointment if it is just CS in every way except different graphics and like this kind of interesting but sort of meh conceit of you get like a duplicate. Like that to me is like, that's kind of, it seems like a slightly less interesting version of one hero in Valorant.
Yeah. I can see that. And obviously, there could be, you'll have to see more. Once again, we've only seen a few minutes of the gameplay, but I get that. Like I said, I get that. That was exactly kind of what I thought, which is like if this is just CS with different graphics plus kind of one, I don't want to say gimmick because it might be great and completely like change strategies, kind of like a hero adding heroes completely changes the strategy because now you have abilities, right? But with that one change, is that what people want? I find it fascinating because I'm from the outside looking in, right? 0 hours in Valorant, 0 hours in CS. So
really, literally 0.
Never opened either of those games in my entire life. Once again, I missed CS because
can we do some PP content?
Bro, that would be funny. Imagine dragging me through like CS lobbies. I'm just gonna get yelled at nonstop. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, we could play with like Dottie and some other
that's true.
other folks. Where like we play like a 5v5 scrim, it would be nothing but fun. Bro, I'll get like 0 kills. Like,
yeah.
And that's the thing is that like I've got thousands of hours in both of those games. And because I haven't played it in so long, I cannot. It's different, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different skill set.
I get it. I mean, once again, playing even like I can't go from Tarkov to like Apex Legends without feeling like this is my first time playing a shooter game because I've got such deep roots in Tarkov and no other mouse and keyboard game that going from that to CS, it would feel like I was on a different planet. But I mean, it definitely could be hilarious and fun. Yeah, no, it's fascinating.
I want to see you like with a UMP, like kind of slow strafing, going.
Dude, that's the thing is that like you have to strafe and shoot in Tarkov. You know what I mean? So I am so used to strafing and shooting. That would destroy my life having to. And then there's the whole whatever it's called, the counter strafe thing where you have to like stop so that you strafe the other direction. Have you seen those keyboards that have the null bind thing? It's like Razer and then Wu-Ting did it as well. So Razer came out with a keyboard.
When you release the A, it like automatically presses D or something?
No, so you can set it. So like Wu-Ting, I don't know if it's Wu-Ting or Wu-Ting, but whatever. They have keyboards where, like Desmond was telling me about this. On most keyboards, it's like at 50% of the key being actuated is when the thing happens. And then it's not... and then that bind doesn't release until it releases back up by the 50%. And Wu-Ting keyboards, you can change that in software. So you can say, as soon as the key is actuated 4%, execute the command. Yeah. And then you can also set it to, as soon as I start letting it go, release the command. Well, then Razer came out with software that was like, for like D and A, where even if I'm holding D, even if D is still fully depressed, when I hit A, it just throws the D command out the window. So you don't have to time it. It just like does it for you. You can just like boom. Okay. And then Wu-Ting did the same thing. And so it's like this guy, Optimum Tech, who I've actually watched a bunch of his tech videos in the past. He made a video. It was like Razer's new keyboard is basically cheating. And he just like went in the weeds of all that about it. It basically just takes that entire skill ceiling of you having to kind of master how to do that. And the keyboard just does it. It's not like it's not like pressing other binds for you, but it just makes it easier. Instant counter strafes. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, we're gonna get the virtual drama all over again. Did you remember that?
Yes. And on Wu-Ting's website, they like have like a Trackmania part because they talk about how valuable it is for Trackmania.
Yeah, but do you remember? Were you like watching?
No, I mean I think we talked about it a little bit, but I didn't get caught up on any of it. That
was like very close to being like cancelable.
Oh, really?
That was like, yeah, I thought there was a good chance. I'm like, this guy's career might be over now.
Damn.
He went like, it was like Dr. Disrespect levels of like, you know, people love the guy.
Oh, and then all of a sudden,
overnight, he's like the villain. And like Virtual used to be like, I remember back in the day, he was just unequivocally like the hero
The
of
goat
Trackmania
of Trackmania.
because he was like everyone would make a video and it would get 1,200 views. He'd make a video and it'd get 2 million views.
Yep.
And it was like he was the only one advertising Trackmania. So, yeah, so he was just like the goat. And then what happened? All this drama came about because on his track of the day, so you can basically create tracks, you submit them to get voted for track of the day. Every day there's a big track of the day thing. And his map, he had like a big competition that was like, if you can beat my time on this map, you'll win like $1,000 or something like that. But it was like for a while, people were like, this is like unbeatable. And he's a very good player,
but he's not the best.
Like the best.
Yeah.
And like the best players were like kind of not coming close to like hitting his time. And he's a keyboard player. So Trackmania, like, it's a driving game.
Yeah.
So you can like literally, you have trigger, which is the throttle, and a joystick, which is like turning, right?
Yeah.
Having that ability is like, you'd think it was massive. Whereas, you know, you kind of have to like tap.
Yeah.
But, you know, players have gotten to the point where they're kind of on equal footing.
Okay.
But now this is at the time they've changed the physics of it. There's something called a bobsled in Trackmania, which is basically like, you know how there's different surfaces. There's dirt, sand,
ice,
tarmac, ice. So there's ice, but then there's also bobsled, which is basically like a U-shaped ice. Like, think about like literally a bobsled, like half tube.
Yep.
But the way that works is there's a particular place that you get where it's like you kind of like slot right in.
Yeah.
And if you're not good, you'll go too high and then you'll slide over and it just becomes a mess. You kind of need to like get right into this little nook at like, you know, the kind of the bottom sort of corner.
Yep.
And hold. See, like if you just are driving normally, holding down in that area, you'll go much faster than if you aren't hitting like an optimal line. But if you very slightly turn down, like basically towards the center, you'll speed up. And what he did is he had basically like a hotkey or something set up on his keyboard where he had it so that like holding down A or D was like 36.2% turn, which is like the optimal thing. So he was executing a perfect,
just 10 out of 10 times he could just nail it.
Assuming he got the entry right, it was like, now normally you'd have to like perfectly hold the stick, you know, like, which is, that's ultimately what the like world record stuff in Trackmania when it comes to either ice or like full speed, it comes down to is effectively getting like perfect speed drifts, having the perfect like overlap of the tires and all that stuff. And so it basically came out, I think, because what you can do is all these people have like these plugins where they have like input displays where you can see when you're hitting left and right, and they could see that it was like you'd see the little triangle for like turning left, it would go like whoop, and it would just stay there. And it's like normally what you'd see from someone on keyboard is full, full,
they're like
full, like that,
tapping it in.
Tap. So
did he just like admit to it? He was like, yeah, I had this thing.
He did. But it was in the midst of this whole thing where it's like you put up prize money to do this thing and you're using like a third party hardware and software to make the game easier. And there was just a lot of drama around like, bro, like people were straight up saying you cheated, you're fucking dead to us, all this stuff. And he actually managed to like recover. I was watching some of his videos and the other day, and it was like, I think he's basically moved past it, and it was like it never happened. But
How long ago is this?
I want to say somewhere between like 1 to 3 years
Okay.
ago.
Dang.
But yeah, no, I recently saw something else that had to do with something like this. That was like, this is going to be. Oh, it might have been like a monitor that
Yeah.
had like AI in it or
Yeah.
something.
Razer had like a monitor that had some sort of like map. It was like for like League or something where you could like see through the fog
Yeah.
of war or something. Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. It's fascinating. Those games are just the competitive, CS, Valorant, that kind of like, I mean, what do you call that? Does that have a genre? That is it just like arena? Because it's not like an arena shooter, but it kind of
Like
is.
CS.
Yeah, like is
Like
CS just
competition
comp shooter,
shooter,
tag shooter? Yeah, I don't know.
tack shooter. Yeah, tack shooter.
Those just like they never really. It's funny because like they never really got me, and it probably is because those games are just skill. It's like that's
It's
it.
just mechanics.
It's just the shooter version of chess.
It's golf. It's fucking golf.
Yes,
is what it is.
It's golf in video game. It's purely, and I suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think I fell in love with Tarkov because there's so much more to it. Like there's so much more brain to it than just mechanics. You know what I mean? Like knowing the ammo, knowing the maps, knowing the flanks, knowing the routes, knowing how people are going to play and when they're going to play and how you can kind of push them around a little bit. You know what I mean? Whereas those things, it's just skill. It's just, sweat. And I don't say that in a negative way. Like I can totally see the appeal of that. I can see the appeal as the player where it's just like visceral. I'm either getting better or I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm doing well or I'm not. There's nothing else about it. And I can see also from a viewer's perspective how that could be like fun to just nonstop see people operating at their highest capacity, right? You know what I mean? Like I get it, but it just never really did it for me. It's funny because that's kind of a segue. I finally did go in and check out a little bit of Blast Gang, Tarkov's new game, the arena game mode.
Right.
That's the search and destroy, basically. And I know that that's not the same, but those games are more towards that. Like, the search and destroy type games are more bent towards that, like Rainbow Six Siege with the planting of the bomb and the defusing, S&D back in the Call of Duty days. And it's very similar to the CS bomb map. There you go. Boom. I don't know anything about the different modes in CS. But yeah, it's there's two sites you can plant the bomb. You've got the bomb. You're either defending or you're planting. If you wipe the other team, you win the round. And you switch sides. And in Tarkov, there's the switching sides. You get to change classes, which that's the first arena mode where you actually mid-game get to change your class if you want. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, dude, we played. I was playing with Sealable and Velian. So there were only 3 of us, but we were like, let's check it out. Tarkov was mega boring that night. And like, we played 1 round. And by the end, I personally was just getting verbally berated by our teammates, which is fine. Like, I wasn't like offended, but it was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Once again, I've never played a single round of search and destroy in Call of Duty. I've never played CS. I've never played, like, I was just a team deathmatch guy and I'm a Tarkov guy. And like, so I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I didn't know that if the bomb is planted, if you wipe the other team, you still have to defuse. Bro, dude, the dude was over VoIP, like losing his shit because it was 1v1. It was 1v1 and I was wasting time. Because I was playing it like a Tarkov 1v1. I was like trying to bait him into peeking and stuff like that. And I killed the guy and then we lost because I killed him. And then the round ended like 2 seconds after I killed him. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And so it was funny because like after, I was like, I told Valiant, I was like, I was for sure weighing the team down. Like, I get it because we're playing in ranked, because that's the only play you can play. Blast Gang, I think, is in ranked. So that guy's trying to get his rank up, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I was just like, this is you just did the equivalent for me.
You just did the equivalent of it's the oh my God, what's like the Super Bowl of basketball? Why am I all of a sudden
the playoffs?
No, like the final
NBA finals.
Oh, okay. There's not like
no.
It's not. Okay. I was like, there's not like a word for like the Super Bowl.
No, for basketball.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I thought I was having a stroke there for a second. Imagine it's the fucking finals, right?
Yeah.
You are down by 2 points.
Yeah.
There's 3 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
Your teammate inbounds the ball to you.
Yeah.
And you jog for 3 seconds and
yes, that is
like just half court.
Yeah, just throw it. Yeah, no,
do it.
100%. And I was like voiping back at the guy. I was like, you're right. Like it wasn't even like toxic gamers. It was like, I get it. We're in ranked. You're playing solo. You're probably had 8 other games of shitty teammates, and I am helping the team 0. I was like, I get it. But it was just like, I've never played a game mode like that before. And I was just, and what else threw me off? I've played I probably played 100 or 150 hours of Arena. When it first came out, I played it for like 2 weeks straight. Then it wiped. I played it for another 2 weeks straight. Like, I played a lot of Arena. Just for this mode, we were playing on one of the maps. They completely changed it. They literally like boxed. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense for this game mode. They literally added to the map on both sides. They boxed off a bunch of the little flanks. And so I think they made it more kind of like a traditional 3-lane, a lot less of the back and forth, which probably makes sense for that mode. But the whole goddamn time, I'm like running to go vault up on a box and the box isn't there. Or I run to go flank and they put a piece of plywood there. So I'm like, or I'm holding an angle and they literally just knocked down a wall behind me that I didn't know. And there's a whole new area back there and somebody just walks behind me. So the whole time I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off because the map is different. Even though I've played 100 hours to this map, I don't know how the game mechanic works. And the dude's yelling at me and I was like, oh dude, this is just not for me. But I get it. I wasn't even mad at the guy. I was like, I legitimately get it. But it was so funny. It was so funny. But
that's kind of like the part of the like heart beating adrenaline.
Yes.
Is that like if they plant the bomb, basically when you're on offense, you plant the bomb and mid round it flips. So now you are playing defense in the middle of the round because now you have to defend the bomb.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the way that like a round might go. A very common round is you have someone playing like mid. Yep. Usually there's like a long lane where they're sniping. And then there's an A site and a B site. And usually there's like 2 guys on A, 2 guys on B defending. Usually there's like 2 or 3 lanes into a bomb site. There's like one coming from like a short angle, one coming from a long angle, one coming from a mid angle. And so you have to figure out, like, we have 5 attackers.
Yes.
Do we want to, you can have like 1 guy go or 2 guys go to A site and then like count down and like 3, 2, 1, throw flashbangs, grenades, smokes to get them to be like, it's A. The people who are holding B site completely rotate off. And then the 3 people who are like hiding can go plant, So there's this whole strategy, this whole cat and mouse around.
Which makes total sense. I was playing it like a team fight match where I was just like running around, like trying to find someone to kill. And I was just getting caught by people holding lanes, which they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Right. Like, and so, it was crazy. Oh, and then they took all the nades, or at least most of the nades, off the classes. But on the table, I think this is also how some of the other games, when you spawn in, the little like spawn room where the guy counts down and rushes and the doors open. There's like that on each map. There's a table where the bomb is, you pick it up, and then there's a bunch of grenades. And so 50% of the rounds, one of us just died to a nade off spawn. And so it was like, you just have to. And then the other thing that doesn't help is, once again, it's been like this for months. My ARP is high because we grinded it, and
you got carried by.
They made so many. Yeah, they made so many changes since the last time I've like played, but my ARP is still high. And so
artificially,
basically. Yes, 100% artificially. And so it's like, so we're in not low tier lobbies in a game mode I've never played on maps that are different than the last time I played them. And so it was just like a shit show. Now, I don't say that to say it was a negative experience. The reason we hopped in is because I've had a lot of people being like, dude, Blast Gang is really fun. So like, I think they are slowly moving the needle on Arena. Like the amount of people that are like, dude, I've been having a ton of fun playing since X or since Y. Like the tier 3 kits are so much more fun to play, the whatever. So I think they are definitely moving the needle and are making Arena better. I think the more, like, originally there were just so many easy things to shit on about Arena. And there still are, but there are less. And the less things there are just like to objectively shit on about Arena, the more I'm like, I just don't think I like these games. Like they're just not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's important to make that distinction, because I used to just shit on Arena because it was so bad. And it's like, at this point, it's like, if they really turn that around, I want to give them their flowers and be like, dude, you guys made a decent Arena shooter, but I just think I still am not going to play it, because I just feel it's like WoW. Like if I wanted to play WoW, I'm just too far behind, man. Like I said, I am not exaggerating. Literally, probably, because I can't 100% say zero, I can say I'm 99% positive I've played less than 5 rounds of Search and Destroy in Call of Duty in my entire life. I've never played Valorant. I've never played Counter-Strike. It just feels too late to learn that. To learn what the lanes and the strategies. It just feels too late. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna play freaking I might play free for all like in Arena for some fun. I might play the team fight if they ever do the PvE mode, the overrun. But it's just like,
it's too
late.
It is too late to try and be remotely competitive.
Yes. Which I don't really care.
That would be like you deciding right now, like, maybe I'm going to try and be like a pro baseball player. Like, the ship sailed, brother. I hate to break it to you, but the ship sailed, okay? You can put in all the effort you want. You're just too fucking old, okay?
Yeah. No, you're right, though.
But it's not too late
to say sorry.
To play. True.
To just like vibe with the boys.
I think too late for, yes. If you were to jump in now, and you were to try and kind of like even casually sort of just grind like ranked, it's too late for that. I think for you to enjoy it, because here's the deal, you would be put with fucking silver 3s that have 5,000 hours in the game, that have been hard stuck there a million years. And they would just be mauling at you for not knowing, for being
rightfully
a fucking
so.
noob. And you would be mauling at them for also being like embarrassingly bad for how much time they have. It's like, you have the knowledge and the experience and you're still dog shit, which is worse. But then there also end up being like mega toxic, and it would be rough. But if you were to play with a full squad of homies that had reasonable expectations about how you were going to perform. I mean, this is how it is even for me. I haven't played in so long that like mechanically I'm just rusty and I'm going to whip all the shots. And I used to have binds where I'd be buying all this stuff with my fucking keyboard binds, and
that's funny.
All that with like the console and shit. So I'd be like 8, 5, 4, 3, and like I would know all that stuff. I knew all the call outs on all the fucking maps. I but I was like average at CS. It was passable. But like even now, it's like it would be embarrassingly bad on CS or
Yeah.
Valorant for a while. So it would be the same for me, where it was like even when we played like a 5v5 scrim with like Dottie and
Yeah.
Zero Bit and a few other folks, and it was like I'm like, guys, I'm not gonna get any kills. I'm just want to let you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. And it was like totally fun. It
Yeah.
didn't matter, right?
Yeah. That.
When you have people who are shitty, it will not be fun for you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I get that, and I agree with that. Like, I think it would be hilarious to just like get the boys and play and not care about our rank. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to check it out because people were excited about it. You know what I mean, and I can definitely say the game is more fun playing with tier 3 kits. You know what I mean, than not. So I'm still super interested to see what the new preset customization looks like. And then I think there's still modes that haven't been added to the game, like the overrun mode. They took out the shootout mode, which was like the 2v2, 3v3 thing. Like that's just out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
I never got to play it. The 2 times I tried to play shootout, I waited in queue for 30 minutes and we bailed and went back to team fight. Like I've never played it a single time.
It's just kind of meh.
Yeah.
It was the same shit, just with like wait times, basically.
Yeah.
And, like spectator mode.
Yeah.
People exploited the fuck out of.
Yeah.
Um,
Last Hero is fun.
Do you remember that whole thing? I don't even think we talked about it. It was one of those things that like was a thing. I had like someone sent me a video of people like how to do the exploit so that we can send to Nikita, and they're like, we're looking into it. But the whole exploit with, so you know how in that like 2v2, 3v3 is like a tournament mode kind of thing where
you could like hop over
the spectators.
Yeah.
Could like vault into the game and kill the people and pick up their guns, and they would then have the guns for their rounds.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's like, how is it simultaneously that unbelievable and also extremely believable coming out of Tarkov? That's crazy.
Dude, it was the wildest thing.
That is crazy. Oh my God. Well, yeah. So Arena, they're kind of turning it around. You know, we'll see. Yeah. I also just forgot how different. Like even when I was playing Arena, like so the S&D mode, the Blast Gang mode, I'm gonna suck because I haven't done that. When we were playing, like me, Ham, you, Valiant, Gino, Fudge, like there was all those people we were just interchanging with all the time. When we were playing, like I got decent at it. Like I was towards the top of the leaderboard most games. I had several aces. Like I was holding my own at least. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. I forgot how different you play a game like that. Once again, I can't stress enough in every circumstance when I play how like you can view me as almost I've only played one multiplayer game in my life, and that's Escape from Tarkov. Like the ratio of those games to any other game, it's just insane. And so like I forgot how different, like, because then we hopped over and played some team fight for a little bit, and I don't think I got a kill the whole game. It was just like when I have to change my mental strategy to like it was gone. And I was like, if I just grinded this out for a few days, I would kind of get it back. But it was just so funny that it was all gone. It was all gone. Even just playing team fight, like just those arena shooters where it's round based and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, it's so different.
It's like if you wanted to join a fucking pickup basketball league.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to like, okay, I need to play a team sport.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You gotta remember like
a team 100%. Like my actions affect other people, especially late wipe Tarkov, where it's like I'm breaking all the rules. I'm like doing things I shouldn't do just to get PvP. You know what I mean? Like to then just be confronted with that, where it's like your actions, like if that dude got a good nade and then you die because you were being an idiot and pushed, now it's 3v5 and the team is at a disadvantage now. You know what I mean? And
it's fun when you're getting bullied.
100%. And that's such a different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have a responsibility versatility,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
Whereas even if you're playing like duos in Tarkov, I feel like you don't really have that much of
No, especially late wipe
you
duos.
just don't get in the way, but otherwise do what you want.
100%.
But like you have a job, you have a role, and there's expectations.
Yes.
When you're playing, like if I want to go hold A site, someone else probably wanted to hold A site. They're probably better at it than you, but you want to hold it. So okay, fine. They'll go hold B site. If you're dying every single round because you don't know where to stand or whatever, then it's like, substitute. I can't sub you out.
Yeah. No, so that's so it was funny even playing that. I was like, oh, I forgot, because I remember when we were grinding out Arena when it first came out, the first like 2 or 3 days, that was a huge mental shift, and then I kind of locked into it, and then I was having a blast like playing Arena those first few days, but it took a while then, and I just forgot how different it was. You know what I mean? I've just been like, this is like almost the longest wipe in Tarkov history. For the past 2 months, I've just been like taking 4 stims at the beginning of each round and then just like running around like an idiot. You know what I mean? So to have that responsibility, I was like, oh shit, this is so different. So yeah. But yeah, outside of Arena in the Tarkov land, there's not a whole lot going on. We did get an event where Labs was free, and you didn't need a card, and there was a quest to kill like 23 PMCs and 57 raiders. And weirdly,
57 raiders.
Yeah, 57 raiders, 23 PMCs. I don't know why those numbers.
Their event with raiders.
No, just free labs. Oh, yeah. So just free labs. So just go to labs and kill.
Sorry, I missed labs.
Yeah, free labs. You don't need a card. So it was just like kill 23 PMCs, 57 raiders on labs, and weirdly, bro, it was fun, dude. I came back from my trip, and then that last week, I had, dude, the worst week of Tarkov. Dude, I was just getting fisted, bro. It was just
Were you like rusty or
no, dude? It was just non-stop, just like I was playing with Desmond, and he was like laughing at just like how ridiculous it was. Like we would just be running and doing our thing, and it was just like somehow, some way, somebody was exactly far enough away, and they threw a grenade that it explodes when it makes impact with the ground, which is between my legs. Like we weren't in a fight. We're not like, it was just that all night. Like the AI
sounds sus to me.
The AI would just, but it wasn't just players. It was like we'd be running and the AI would just get on the mounted machine gun and one tap me. Like, you know what I mean? It was just a week of Tarkov of just non-stop. Everything that could go wrong would go wrong. You shoot somebody in the face, they would tank it. They shoot you in the face. I had a few cheaters. I had some stream sniping. I had AI. It was just like everything that could go wrong will go wrong. And then they did a labs event. And I was like, bro, I am not in the mental state to run labs. But something just like clicked. And I did like 3 days of labs, and it was the best I'd ever played in my entire life. I finally got the achievement Killer 7, which is kill 7 PMCs in one raid. And I got it on labs solo. I wasn't even duoing with anybody. And it was just like,
well, yeah, I would expect you to get it solo because there's nobody to steal your kills.
Yeah, but I don't normally play labs as a solo. I'm normally exclusively playing that map duoing. But like something just clicked, dude. And it weirdly turned it around. I've had a few really good days of Tarkov after that. The labs just, I don't know what it just cleared the mental fog, and I just went full try hard mode, and we had some really good days.
Nikita tweeted about like a big cheater ban? Or?
No. Yeah, no. We have had quite a few of those recently, though, but I don't know if that's just because there's less people playing or what. But yeah, so I don't know. Outside of that, it's just boring. There's just nothing to do. Like, there's just nothing to do. And then that's just got me like all over thinking about like all the things about Tarkov, which is just like, I wish there was Because it's like I've gone through cycles of when you're brand new to Tarkov, right? You hate wipes because you're like, my progress is being reset. That's the most toxic thing ever. And then you get through a few wipes and you're like, I love wipes because it's a chance for me to like reset and do better. And also everybody gets, everybody's reset and that's fun. And then I circled back around for the past like year or two where it's like, I really don't like wipes because I hate doing these stupid quests over and over again. Like there's nothing different about the wipe. And so it annoys me to have to do all these quests over again. And then I'm cycling back to like, give me the wipe because there's just no end game in this game. There's just nothing to do. And my least favorite, like I love PvP. I want to PvP all the time. But my least favorite PvP is just stim and run to the closest spawn. Like, you know what I mean? It's just flat and gross. So I've been playing a ton of Shoreline, even though it's dead, because Shoreline is like, you run to the resort and I have stuff to do. It's like the equivalent of Subway Surfers under your TikTok video where you're like, you know what I mean? Where you're listening to the clip of the podcast and underneath is the dude doing whatever, because it's like I'm looting the resort. I have that like subconscious mental itch getting scratched. I know I go from this room to this room and this room. Ooh, athletics. Ooh, this. And then you hear a guy, boom, let's fight. Let's PvP. But it's just like, how many raids do you just like spawn, run into someone, die, spawn, run into someone, kill them. Now you're overweight, so you leave. Spawn, run into someone, die, spawn, run into someone, kill them. You're overweight, so then you leave. So I need that other thing to do, and there's just no end game. There's just nothing to do. And so, and I understand that comes from a place of 8,000 hours in the game, right? It's like if this is your third wipe, you're like, what I'm trying to do is get better at the game and understand and learn the maps, and there's tons for you to do, and that's great. That's good. But it's the game is just set up in a way that your reward for doing those things, like your reward for learning the maps, your reward for is just like kind of a flat experience.
Yeah.
It's really fun to have that mental check where you're like, ooh, I feel like I understand reserve now and I'm crushing PvP. I feel like I understand, like that's good, but that high ends.
It doesn't last.
Where you're just used to being good at PvP on this map now, and then there's nothing. There's nothing left.
Yeah, and the game has been around long enough that there really isn't much of an excuse to not have. Like a lot of people will say, like, oh, well, you've got so much time, like it's only you've just done all the things and blah blah blah. But the same argument I think should and has been made for games like Diablo, where the average casual player will get one character to like level 92 ever, and then that's like it.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm not even like a serious player, and I got 5 characters to level 100.
Yeah.
In like a week and a half in Diablo when I got back into it like a month ago.
For sure.
And there's something to be said about designing a game that has an experience that basically it should have infinite replayability.
Yeah.
Past a certain point. Now, some people would argue that Tarkov has infinite replayability, and I would say that nobody over X thousand hours would say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. None of these games that have infinite replayability are infinitely replayed. That's like not it's not like a realistic end goal that you could have a game that everyone would want to play forever and never play anything else.
Yeah, of course.
But that's not to say that you can't. That it's impossible for you to design features.
Correct.
A gameplay loop that promotes a kind of infinite sort of thing, right? Like when you get a character to level 100 in, max level in a game like Diablo, at that point, your character doesn't have progression. But what you're doing is generally you're using your epic, uber-powered character that is like very fun and satisfying to play in a very, very particular way usually to farm resources or farm gear, min-max your own gear, or get gear and resources and stuff for other characters that you're going to play later.
Yeah.
So like even when you get to max level, there's still stuff to do. Now Diablo might not be the best example of that, like design principle, but that's like the core of it is. And Tarkov just why do you want more money? Why do you want more stuff? There's nothing.
And that Diablo, like I haven't played, so I'm just going to defer to basically what you just described to me. That works because once you get to max level, if you don't want to keep playing, you can be like, oh, I got a sufficient experience. And if you want to keep playing, you can keep going. And like you said, farm those things for those other characters. And both types of players can like get exactly what they want out of it. Yeah. Whereas in Tarkov, if you're more casual, you probably have other goals. Maybe I want to get Kappa swipe or whatever. But there comes a pretty hard ceiling for the players that play more often, like the quote unquote hardcore players, because they're not getting resources for another character. They can't prestige. There's no gear to acquire in the world that can't be acquired from the traders. So like the wall becomes just PvP because like you said, I could get more XP, but to what end? There's no more quests, there's no more whatever. I could get more money, but to what end? 1 billion rubles is no different than 200 million rubles. So it's just PvP. And so getting that, like, it's a tricky thing to do. It's a tricky thing to do in any game, and it's a really tricky thing to do in an extraction shooter, right? Because you all live together. Because you think about games like chess or CS:GO, the skill ceiling is infinite. You can always get better and there's always something to do, but you're only ever playing with people near your skill ceiling. Like you're not playing, baby's first chess game. You're not playing against that person. You're playing against people you want to beat to get better at chess. But Tarkov has this unique thing where it's like, we're all in the melting pot. So how do you create a game that casual people want to play, that hardcore people want to play, that they both kind of get the amount of replayability they want out of it, but they also coexist together? It's one of the reasons why we've many times on this podcast championed the idea of a prestige, because that idea is almost tailor-made for Tarkov because it keeps the average player level down because the high-tier players are prestiging over and over again, resetting to 0, which helps the more casual players run into really high-skilled players that don't have GLs and thermals and T7s. And it's like, that's like such a no-brainer for like long-term Tarkov because it creates that infinite loop that almost ends up benefiting the more casual players because they're constantly being fed not level 70s with the best stuff in the game. But another way to do that is it's so funny. I used to make kind of like the talking head videos in Tarkov. Like I made a video that was called it was something along the lines of like the weight system isn't helping the right people. And it was all about how like the weight system in the game just favors you having money so you can take stims so that the weight system doesn't apply to you. And the casual players with low skills get all the negatives of the weight system. They kill one Chad, they can't even take out all his gear. You know what I mean? And I made a whole video. And I made a video called The Real Reason People Rat in Tarkov. It's Not What You Think. And I just talked about that. I haven't made those in a while because I've just been so like, I don't want to think about Tarkov. You know what I mean? Like I just am so done. But I kind of recently got re-inspired to make some because a big conversation right now is the armor. The armor, they made the whole armor change. And then everybody was mad. Most people were mad because armor felt useless because the armpit hitboxes were so big. The throat hitboxes were so big. The armor covered such little. It was like, why invest, right? Why invest? Yeah. Then they made the change to the hitboxes. And now the pendulum has swung. The pendulum of public opinion has seemingly swung to like armor is way too OP. And I kind of got re-inspired to make a video because I feel so strongly that armor is not overpowered. It's just too available. It's overpowered because literally everybody you run into is either wearing a P.A.C.A. or class 5 or 6 armor. Like class 6 armor, you've played Tarkov. You've played 10,000 hours of Tarkov. there has never been a time in Tarkov's history where people are wearing more Class 6 armor. Class 6 was always like the juice. You found a Zabralo, it's rare, and you run it, I guess, and there weren't many other Class 6 armors. Then the Slick came into the game and everybody was rocking Slicks. But those wipes that the Slicks were in the game, that it felt like the two most common armors were the Slick and the TV-110, which was Class 4. That's gone. Like, I haven't worn a Class 4 armor in, dude, 4 months. It's Class 5 and 6 because the plates. So now you're just buying a Gazelle or all these armors that were traditionally Class 5 armors, and you're putting Class 6 plates in them. And I feel so strongly that the armor's in a good spot. It's just you're only running into people with Class 6 plates. And that should be something that feels tanky. You want there to be that carrot at the end of a stick of like, I found a Class 6 armor, I feel like a god, which also inversely is, I just lost my Class 6 armor, that really sucks. Those emotions are what make Tarkov, right? And so we need to push the average armor level down to level 4 again. Then the TTK comes down with it. Armor feels less OP, and you still preserve this experience of like every once in a while getting it. But anyways, so I like felt inspired to write a script for the video. I ended up writing almost a 4,000 word like freaking PhD thesis on everything that's wrong with Tarkov, because like it just went into this exact thing where it's like everybody has everything. And I literally like, I made me think of, you ever seen the movie The Incredibles? Please tell me you've seen The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Okay. When he has them all lasered up and he reveals his master plan, and his master plan is to make everybody in the world a superhero. Because he says, when everybody is super, no one is. Yeah. And it's like, that's Tarkov, man. We all want Class 6 armor until everyone has Class 6 armor. And if everyone has Class 6 armor, nobody has anything cool. You know what I mean? And I do this whole section in there about like how many times have we talked, not just we talked about this, but like you heard in conversations, like, what's going to be the end game for Tarkov? Like that used to be talked about all the time. Like, what's the end game? Like, what are we going to do? And I was like,
the end game is the wipe.
Well, that sure. But I was like, we put the end game on the traders. Like the end game should be the gear. It should be like the best gear, the best ammo, the best attachments, the best armors. Those should be things none of us have access to, no matter how many hours in the game you have. And the end game is the cycle of like going out to try and get it, getting it, feeling like a god, losing it, and then going and trying to get it again. You know what I mean? Like that would add meaning to death even 1,000 hours into a wipe. You know what I mean? If it's like, that was my Slick. I wore that for a week and felt like a god. And now
imagine
it's gone.
If when you get, you know, to like level 70, or you get, you know, the equivalent of a Kappa or whatever, and they give you like a key card that on a couple different levels, you know, imagine on Shoreline.
Yeah.
Imagine there's like a compound on Shoreline that's like a little villa with the walls, but it's like a locked door.
Yep.
And when you go in there, you can unlock it, and there's just like, imagine just a weapons case.
Yeah.
You know, with like a gun in it. Just a weapons case with like the M4 you'd find in Kiba or something, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, you can get that in and then get out. So then there'd be a whole meta around, we're going to do runs where we're going to farm gear.
Yes.
We're farming them on Shoreline. And then other people could be like, we're going to snipe, not stream snipe, but like we're going to go and like almost play defense at these places because we don't have the key. We haven't gotten there yet.
100%.
And we can basically wait to see if someone like unlocks it, kind of like Kiba.
100%. It like
that could be an entire fucking end game loop
for sure.
Assuming all of that stuff wasn't on traders and wasn't on the flea market.
Of course. Yeah, the gear has to not be on traders, not be on the flea market. But like 100%. I mean, as I was thinking about it, it all just started flowing. It was like airdrops. What a perfect mechanic. What a perfect mechanic as like a super low tier chance to get the best loot in the game that's unaccessible from the traders. It's a PvP catalyst. Like imagine, like, I can't remember the last time I heard an airdrop and legitimately looked where it landed because I wanted to go contest that. Like,
Yeah.
these are the things we've talked about this all the time. What are the things that change the battlefield, change the landscape of what you're trying to do? I was chasing these shots, but now that airdrop, and I know that either A, that has a chance for really good loot, or B, other people are going to be going there. So it's like airdrops, completely useless mechanic, literally could be one of the most fun things. Locked rooms. All anyone cares about in any locked room in the game is treasure. LEDX, Bitcoin, key card. It's just money. It's just ruble. There's no gear. No, these one
Are like
single...
docs cases like completely valueless now?
Yeah.
I remember getting a docs case was like one of the best things.
I found a docs case today in Marked Room, and they were selling on the flea market for 120,000 rubles, which is a Bitcoin would be 6 of those. So it's like, locked rooms. The one singular exception is Kiba, and Kiba's super fun to run. It's the only room where you're like, oh, cool stuff. There's a spear every once in a while. And so like locked rooms, there's so many rooms on reserve, on shoreline, whatever, that could like be, this is a room that has a super rare chance to find high tier guns, high tier ammo, or high tier armor. I was thinking about this too the other day. Bosses. Like when you think about the word boss in any other type of game, it's like they have a chance to drop the good loot. And the bosses have been so bastardized in Tarkov, literally, their guns are unusable beyond repair. The cool loot that should be in the boss is worthless. Like,
are they still broken in terms of like difficulty?
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, they're either like super easy or they're 360 no scoping you. It's like now the bosses have some armor, like some class 5 armors, like the kill armor and some of the goon rigs are class 5, but they don't feel that you don't care when you get them because you can just get better class 5 armors in your stash, right? So it's like, so why do people farm bosses? Either for achievements or for the hope that they have a colored key card in their backpack. It's just money. So it was like, the more I thought about this, the more I was like, Tarkov already has like 8 mechanics in the game right now that are custom tailor-made to be the game's end game. And they put everything you could possibly get out of the end game, and they just put it for sale for USD on the traders. And I was just like, I just kind of like went off on this whole thing where it's like, people don't have anything to do at the end, a late wipe. There's no end game. And then it's like, it's right there for you for the taking. You know what I mean? And there's so many things that it would be, because what's not fun in Tarkov is when there's like an event where like there's this one thing that everybody wants, and the one thing is only happening, this event is only happening on one map, and you have to fight one boss. Like that gets lame because it's just like a meat grinder. But if there were 11 different activities in the game, airdrops, locked rooms, boss farming, like all these different things, if there were 10 or 11 different activities in the game that each in their own right only had a very small chance to spawn high tier loot, well now like each player can like kind of engage with that. Like each player gets an opportunity to do their own farm however they want it. You know what I mean? Some people might want the more PvP focused ways where they get it. Some people might want the looting focused ways. Some people might want the PvE focused ways. And all of those systems already exist in Tarkov. There's bosses, there's different factions of AI, there's locked rooms, there's airdrops, there's all this stuff everywhere. And none of it gets used. Nobody cares about any of it because anything you could put in there is just free if you're level 42. And if you're not level 42, it's unobtainium.
I mean, yeah, and it comes to complete lack of vision / competence.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what they've never done, what they've never managed to do is fully commit to like making changes like that. They always half-ass it. So like they might make 90% of the items rare, like, but then keep 10% as now those might have been like second or third tier picks back when everything was ubiquitous, they're still just the better than everything else. Like remember when the HK was just the best, or the foul, was just the meta. The thing is that they nerf everything else in terms of availability, and they're like, see, we're gonna make things rare.
Yeah.
But then they still leave, like, oh, but you can still get like,
they fundamentally misunderstand rare. Rare to them, like, they can't get over the concept of this needs to be buyable. So if it's buyable, how do we make it rare? We'll just keep bumping up the XP to buy it, which fundamentally misunderstands the problem. Because they keep doing that.
That means it's temporarily rare.
Yeah,
it's temporarily.
exactly.
For 2 weeks, it's rare, and then everyone has it.
Rarity is how rare something is depends on your level. And that's not how it should be. A thing should just be a static rarity. You know what I mean? Like, because then that helps casual players, and it hurts and helps Chads. And that's the point I make in the video, which is like, it objectively hurts the hardcore players if when I get to level 60, I can't just buy spears whenever I want, right? I would have to find them. But the way that it helps them, because this is a big thing that happens when you talk about this, like, let's move stuff from the traders. A lot of the people that play a lot, they immediately hit you with the like, well, then what am I grinding for? Like, I should feel rewarded for the time I put in. What am I grinding for if I can't buy the good stuff? And I get that at a 10,000 foot view. I totally understand that. But it's like, I kind of make a point in the video, you can't have it both ways. It's like, have you ever said any of these statements? There's nothing to do late wipe. There's no endgame in Tarkov. I like early wipe better. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, I want to be able to buy everything in the game as my reward, and also there's nothing to do. Like, those are two sides of a coin. And so the point I make is, like, if we restrict what's purchasable from the traders, but we make it findable in raid, rare, true rarity, where like a thing is just statically rare and your level has nothing to do with it. Well, now you've actually fundamentally increased the amount of times a more casual player can find it, because right now it's 0, right? For a lot of these items, there's some items like the spear you can find in Kibba, but a lot of items it's fundamentally 0. You just need to get level 4 Peacekeeper to get this thing. So if you're not level 4 Peacekeeper, you can't get it. And then the rarity is, as a coin flip, it flips. Once you get level 4 Peacekeeper, you can just buy this ammo on reset and get 6,000 rounds of it. Well, now you can make something truly like independent of the player rare, which increases the amount of times a casual player can find it in the world, and it decreases the amount of times a Chad can get it whenever they want, which gives them something to do. Now late wipe, you're like, I want more better gear. I'm going to go find it. And that's an activity now. And so it's one of those things, but they go, oh, this thing needs to be rarer. It used to be on level 4 traders. You can get level 4 traders at level 42. Let's just add a new quest to the game, and you just have to be level 55 to get this quest, and then we'll put it there. And it's like, it doesn't understand any of the issues with what's going on, and it only makes them worse. Because like, most of the people that can get to level 42 can get to level 55. So it doesn't cut out many people. It just continues to box out the people that can't get it. Yep. Now they can't, and they really can't ever get it. And most of the people that were going to get it anyway. And it doesn't change that like binary 0 access, all of a sudden virtually unlimited access, because the Tarkov player base are so used to like launching the game to just get things. Like, you know what I mean? I was talking about how it doesn't incentivize you to play the game, it incentivizes you to play the menus. Like right now, the guy with the most ammo is not the guy who plays the game the most. It's the guy who launches the game the most times, buys ammo and resets, and closes the game. And if you restrict the amount of stuff purchasable from the flea market, the other point I make is it's a more fair rewarding of time, because casual players can actually like, get stuff every once in a while. But a point I make in the video is like, I as a hoarder probably have more end game armor than Landmark, Glorious, Desmond, Willers, even though those players are objectively much, much better than me. It's just we both have unlimited access to it, and I'm a hoarder, and they're not. They know they can buy it whenever they want. In a world where I can't buy it whenever they want, if you're better than me and you're winning more fights than me, over the course of a wipe, you're accumulating more gear than I am. You know what I mean? It's a more fair, actual like rewarding of time and rewarding of skill. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, the end, like really what they need to do is here's the end result, and there's a million changes that they could / should / would need to make this happen. Yeah. But really what you kind of want is, you know, all the players from like level 0 to 30 should be rocking like 80% AK-74s and like a bunch of crappy Russian guns until then mid-tier, you know, and it doesn't necessarily need to be like Russian versus, you know, whatever. But like just imagine a world where it's like the early progression, you're playing with guns that have 1 or 2 attachments.
Yeah.
They might not be the best quality, whatever. The mid game is you start to get like, oh, I have M4, I have some like decent, you know, maybe like ACOGs or whatever. And then like the end game should be you actually finally have access to like blinged out HKs and P90s and kind of more exotic shit where and that stuff should be only available in raid.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to buy or sell it on the flea market. And I'm talking like attachments and guns and ammo. Like to have an extended mag full of AP ammo in a fully decked out gun that has a suppressor and an optic and a laser and like a buttstock and a grip, right? That should be something that you don't see all the time.
Yeah. And if that's more rare, like from you might not like it. You know, I remember I was watching a video, an Asmongold video. And once again, I'm not co-signing everything this guy's ever said, but he made such a good point, which is it's so hard to take convenience away from a player. If you temporarily add something to your game because you know you're working on a better solution and that is more convenient, it's really hard to take that away. So I understand that if I say, hey, you know, take stuff off the traders, the visceral reaction is you're taking away convenience. But if you think about what makes Tarkov great, the essence of it, it's like from that perspective, everything feels better in my opinion, where if you do take out that HK with the extended mag and AP and a suppressor and a scope, your heart's pumping even when you're not in combat because you understand how rare this is. If you die with it, you get that lull. That's classic Tarkov that gets you addicted to you want to go find more. If you kill the guy with it and you find and you loot him and you find he has it, it's like all of those feelings. Once again, the word I keep coming to in my brain is flat. All of those emotions and feelings are flattened to like you kill a guy with a bunch of gear you're also wearing. You know he's got a bunch of it in the stash. You've got a bunch of it in the stash. It's flat.
Yeah.
But why? Once again, this is why I asked. I was like, ask yourself this question. Do you like the early game better? Have you ever said that before? I like early wife better. Then we'll think about why. When you kill a guy that's juiced, it's 50%, this is a huge come up for me, and 50% like, this was that guy's best kit, and now it's mine. Flat. So it's like, I totally understand taking away convenience, taking away gear and stuff like that. It elicits a really visceral reaction, but it's the game. It's what I thought the game was. You know what I mean? This concept of loss and come up and rare, and this is crazy. I miss those old days where like a juiced M4 was like, oh my God, this guy was juiced. I got to get out of here.
I mean, yeah, we've talked about this thing literally 500,000 times, and like every other episode for the last like 2 years. So like we've beaten it to death. I'm sure there are some people who haven't heard that and aren't compelled by what we're saying. And like, listen, here's the deal. It's the people who like at this point, I'm one of those people who I'm open to having my mind changed and, you know, but nothing has changed fundamentally.
Yeah.
In the time that I developed my opinion to now, really fundamentally, nothing has changed. So I'm I'm fine, and I feel okay saying, nah, I think you're just wrong.
Yeah.
And that now we could disagree. Some of this comes down to subjective opinions.
For sure, absolutely.
But I would argue that this is one of those, like, you might not really know. You might not really get it. You might not really understand. It's like, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to people who are like, I really like when there's a shit ton of inflation because I like having $100 million in the bank. It's like, yeah, but you can buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, it's like you just don't realize that that's not a good thing.
You don't realize
like,
how surface level it is. Number go up is a good thing, but you don't realize how surface level it is. The other reason why I'm so confident about this, and once again, it is subjective. So if you're like, man, I just completely disagree. I love running around and everybody wearing the same kit. I could be like, bro, okay, like you're not wrong. I just disagree. But the other reason why I'm so confident about this is because I called it. Like 2 years ago when I was like, everything is on the traders and we just all have access to everything. If they just keep doing that, it's gonna feel more samey and not more different.
Yeah.
And here we are. Every new gun gets added to the traders. Every new armor gets added to the, like, it's just like, this concept, and I'm not saying that I came up with it. I've talked some of the people that have been subs in my channel for over 2 years. Some of these ideas came from them and not me. Like, I'm not saying I came up with this idea. I'm saying that this conversation around, like, I think there's too much stuff on the traders. I think they just keep putting everything available, and I get that they want to test it or whatever, but it's flattening the experience, and I think it's going to continue to do so. It has continued to do so. More people than ever are bored of Tarkov late wipe. More people than ever say there's nothing to do. It's like this group of people, which is what I also predicted, which is that if you're new and in the honeymoon phase, you don't really get this because you see the streamers with the HKs, you want the HKs, you know what I mean? And I predicted as more people transition from new player to Tarkov veteran, as more people transition from like, this is my second wipe to this is my sixth wipe, more people will be in this camp. And here we are, you know what I mean? More people than ever express these opinions. And it's like, man, it's just, who'd have thought? You know what I mean? Who would have thought?
At what point do, I don't know if you're at this point yet or not.
Yeah.
Do you just end up saying, I've heard every argument. I've heard it. I've heard every argument. This is where I was a year ago, and it's part of why here I am not playing the game.
Yeah.
And just sort of laughing and nodding my head with all this stuff because I had every single debate.
Yeah.
753,000 times. Kept seeing changes that I think demonstrated that my take was right.
Yeah.
And then heard nothing but the same arguments that were demonstrated to be wrong over and over again, that now I just end up basically saying, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's shitty and it's douchey, right? But at the same time, what happens when you've done the math problem 700 times and you keep getting the same answer, and some people are like, but you have to be modest and you have to be realistic and nothing's ever 100%, so you always have to leave it open. Yeah, sure. Except practically speaking, no.
Yeah.
You're just fucking wrong.
I understand what you're saying. And I mean, I'm kind of there. Like, my mind is set on all this stuff. Like I said, if there was a time where Tarkov started getting more fun over time as opposed to less, and none of these changes happened, I'd be like, oh, maybe they could have just done this and it fixed everything. And that was something I didn't think. But like, my mind is pretty locked in. And that's actually the full circle why I'm making the video now. Because I used to make the videos to like really, like, I wanted to change. I wanted to change the world. Like, I don't think BSG watches my videos. If they do, they definitely don't listen to them, which is fine. I don't deserve to be listened to more than, anybody else. But it's cathartic to just, I cannot talk about this stuff in only a few sentences. You know what I mean? People ask me about the armor and I have to either ignore the question or be like, yeah, because I can't. Because when I sat down to write a script about just how armor isn't as OP as you think it is, I ended up with a 4,000 word And it's not fluff. It's all like this and that. Like, so it just becomes cathartic to be like,
yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that.
yeah, exactly. To just like make it. And now I know I have a place where all the thoughts are as eloquently as they'll ever be. So I don't assume BSG is going to watch the video. I don't think they're going to take anything I have to say, but it's like, I love this game and I love these conversations. And so now at least I always have a place. So it's like, I used to make these videos with a lot more emotion, almost hoping I could make an impact on the game. I don't think I'm going to make an impact on the game. I just want to get it all out of my brain. And then if people find it entertaining, great. I'm glad you found it entertaining.
This is going to be the meanest thing I've ever said to you, but you are me. Like, at this point, you are me. Like, I'm talking to a mirror right now, okay?
The way that was set up was so perfect.
You like that?
Oh my God.
Sorry, someone wrote in chat, Jesse Flat Earth documentary when?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it got to the point where you were like me, where you were talking about how you love this game, you fell in love with it, you're learning, you're getting better at the game, right?
Yeah.
All these things. And then, but I'm starting to see some issues with the game, but man, I really think that they're willing to work with me and they're going to make all these changes and I'm really excited. And then some of the things maybe they do. And then, then you start experiencing those things a little bit more and a little bit more. And then you start to say, oh, okay, well, these issues have been in for a while. And finally, I've been talking about this so much, I'm going to invest a bunch of time into really making something a lot more in-depth, a lot more serious to say, something needs to change, right? One of those kinds of videos. And you make that and then it gets received well. And then, maybe changes come from it. Maybe they don't. And then like time goes on and, you kind of get into a rhythm, but the same bullshit keeps happening over and over and over again. And you get more and more frustrated and more jaded. And then all of a sudden, one day you come to the realization over time, slowly, not all of a sudden, where it's like, I've been talking about this. People have been complaining about this. I've had a solution. They've never listened. They seem so out of touch where you just get so jaded and completely fucking give up because you're like, there's just no chance that any of this is ever there's no change. It's like, and then you basically have to say, here's the problem with the game. Here's the solution they're never going to do, but I need to get it out there so that I can stop fucking talking about it.
Yeah.
And I can just have a fucking
exclamation point armor.
Yeah. In my chat so that people can say, and I can just say, go, don't talk to me about it until you watch it.
Yeah.
That's your homework because I just can't be bothered to have the fucking conversation about the economy or about audio or about whatever for the 9 billionth time when people are... have you ever thought about maybe it would be good if we cut taxes for the millionaires? That would trickle down. It's like, oh God, yeah, we're going to have this discussion like we haven't been having it since fucking 1979. It's just the same shit over and over and over again. And everyone thinks that it's like some novel new fucking discussion. Yeah. And it's like not even their fault. They just don't realize that there's nothing new under the sun. Sorry, homie, but it's pretty fucking unlikely that any of your solutions that you're going to come up with, not you, but just I mean, random chatter, Redditor, whatever, that any of the solutions you're going to come up with are going to be something that A, is even remotely a good idea, B, is not something that has been hammered into the ground as having a million flaws, or C, something that has been mentioned a billion times that there's just no chance that they're going to implement. So like, why are we having this conversation again?
So I feel like I've transitioned to the last stage of just like acceptance, the last stage of grief. And now I just kind of am using these videos as like a tool to just empty my brain. You know what I mean? Just get it all out there, the way I want it to be heard. Because that's always like a thing. I feel like for both of us, it's like, what frustrates me the most is not you disagreeing with me. It's you disagreeing with a point I didn't make, but you thought I made that point. You know what I mean? And so if I can just get it out as a script, I won't mess it up, you know what I mean? Or I won't get interrupted by, Valiant or me dying to someone. And so that's it's just like I can just get it out. Oh, my brain. So, but yeah, that's Tarkov. I'm sorry for roping you back into it.
Bro, I will continue to be roped back in if there's nothing better than vindication. Okay.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
every day that you say things are exactly the way that you thought they were going to be, Veritas.
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling all of the things that you felt and that everyone fucking hated you for, and it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. I see you becoming the grizzled, bald-haired fucking anti-hero.
Yep.
That
100%. But on that note, it's been a while since we hit an episode this long. There was much to mull about, but yeah. But on that note, that is the stuff. Freaking Tuesday, brother, is Delta Force. So I don't know. I still don't know the key situation, but if you're down to play at some point.
I forgot what even game that was.
Yeah, that was the one we talked about last week. It was the other extraction shooter that looked basically like Call of Duty plus Arena Breakout. Anyways, if you get keys, let me know. If I get keys, I'll send you one. Whatever, we can play. But I'm excited for that because I think it looks fun, and I am ready to play another game other than Tarkov. So that should be fun. That's coming out Tuesday, and then the wipe is soon TM, and then also like Arena Breakout launches. So hopefully there's just like a bunch of stuff to do here soon. But
yeah, Diablo Season 4 is in a week.
Oh, nice.
And there's like a new character that looks okay. So I'm actually like looking forward to
that's dope.
Having at least 4 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, there you go. That you're excited about. Yeah.
Before I get 3 characters to level 100.
Yeah. But yeah. So thank you guys for hanging. Once again, if you want more unfiltered, unedited, unrated, mauled content, you can go to patreon.com/thepodcastpod. Thank you guys so much for hanging. And we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Don't smoke.